Hello everyone, welcome to another session with me. This is Sanyukta Saxena. Hope you are enjoying this series where we are visiting tangles issued by various CZTs all over, and you have a good collection by now. We have already done a couple of tangles and today we'll be doing two more, right? So the first tangle that we are going to be learning today is called Kuke, which is by CZT KT Abbott, and it starts with an orb, and then we divide this orb into three sections, one third, and then I'm going to draw these petal shapes inside each of the sections like this. Yeah, so start from the center here. You can also start from here if you are more comfortable drawing it this way, and then draw these petal shapes inside this space, right? So you have to start from this side, so remember that. Generally the tendency is to start from the center here. So it is drawn from the opposite side. You also add these inked spaces inside, just aura, make an aura inside, smaller one, and then ink it like this. Same shape, petal shape, a smaller one inside, generally inked in the original tangle. Adds to the look. And then you also ink these in between spaces which are left after drawing these petals. Yeah, so go back and ink those spaces in between. And that's the final look of your tangle Kuke. Yeah, so this tangle is Kuke. The second tangle that we are going to be learning today is called Tentoculus. It is a tangle by CZT Thomas Pedros, and it looks like something is stitched, but it is opening up. Yeah, so I'm drawing scallops here on both sides, kind of coordinated them, right, to create this kind of a shape, and then adding these stitches on both sides, dots, and then ink the inside, right? So this is one of those tangles again which you cannot make out when you draw it, but once you ink the space between, once you shade it, you will actually get to see its actual look, which looks like some stitching, something stitched, and which is kind of opening up. Yeah. So very simple to shade these tangles. As far as Tentoculus is concerned, you can arrange it in any fashion. Yeah. So it is not bound by a grid, be it a spiral grid, be it a leafy shape, anything, right? Be it triangles. You can arrange it in any fashion, and any means the way you arrange it depends. The look of the tangle depends on that, right? So we will try one of those arrangements today in our tile, so you'll understand how versatile this tangle is. It can be used in many ways, but this is the basic, and this is how it looks like. To me, it looks like something stitched which is opening up. Yeah. So let's get started. As far as shading is concerned, not much required on this one. Kuke, it is up to you. How do you want to shade? Generally, these are the spaces which are left, so you can shade it here or you can shade it on one side. It's entirely up to you. How do you want to go about? Yeah, so shading can vary depending on how have you used the tangle. Right? So light shading there and it gets more dimension. So let's get started with today's style, and you'll get a better picture of how they can be used. Yeah. So I'm going to start with the light border here. starting with my pencil with a sense of gratitude. Don't forget to express your gratitude. Always be appreciative of others and your work. Appreciate your work. Yeah. So I'm just going to give a rough string, something like this here. Let's see how do we use the string. Yeah. So I will start first with a tangle called Icanthus. Yeah. So I'm going to add some stems here. Fine stems on both sides, free flowing. Again, second one. So just randomly drawing some stems first, and then we shall see how do we want to place our Icanthus there. Yeah, so Icanthus is a Zentangle original. So I'm going to add some big curves like this first. That's how you start the tangle Icanthus. But the curves can be small, they can be big, whichever way you want it to be. Yeah, I have given some big curls here. Then you can add this nice, what should I say, U shape, nice curve there, like this. A crinky line there and a turn. Yeah, give a slight curve to the leaves. Slowly take your time. Right? And then let us interconnect. Right? So I'm going to connect these leaves by crinky lines, very shaky lines. Take your time. Right? Again, on the other side, you can also add one stem here. Like this. Again, crinky line there. Right? So that's our Icanthus. Now rest of the space below, I'm going to place my cukes. Yeah, so I have inserted an orb. I'm going to divide it into 3, and then I'm going to draw these nice petal shapes. Slowly, take your time. No hurry. Add nice, beautiful petal shapes. Right? Again, I'm going to add one more. Let us first add these orbs. Small ones, big ones, as many as you like. Draw behind, looks nice. Yeah. Take your time. Yeah, I think that would be enough. One hidden one here probably. Yeah. Let's see. Let's do that exercise for all. Slowly, take your time. Add those nice petal shapes inside each of the sections that you created. Draw behind wherever required. Yeah, I'm going to slowly do that exercise for all the orbs. Yes? So I am done with drawing my cuke. Inserted those petal shapes inside each of the orbs. The next thing that I am going to be doing here is ink the in-between spaces. Now if you want, you can always add small little tiny tipples, or you can leave it the way it is. You can do anything about it. I wish to ink it because Icanthus also has these small little islands formed in between inked, and there are spaces in between my cuke also. So I'm going to club the two and ink the spaces left in between. Yeah, that's the whole idea. So take your time and slowly go to each of those spaces and ink it. Yeah. Take your time and slowly add that black to the in-between spaces. Yeah, I'm still in the process of inking the spaces left in between. You can see the drama that it adds to your tile. Take your time, slowly go to each and ink the space. Yeah. So we are done with that. So the cuke also, the in-between spaces are to be inked. So you will have to now go to the in-between spaces of your cuke and ink it. Like this. Yeah. So I'll do that for all. So I'm on the last one now, inking the in-between spaces. Yeah. So done with that. Now moving on to our next angle. So what I'm going to do is add some nice bronze chairs here. Like these. And then I'm going to use my pencil. First draw these tentacles of the Tangles squid. Yeah. So squid is a Zentangle original, but I'm going to use this tangle for the tangle Tentoculus. Yeah. So I have just broadly drawn some tentacles with my pencil, and now slowly I am going to add the tangle, the second tangle that we learned, taking reference of the pencil lines. Slowly coordinating both sides like this. Add those dots and ink the in between. Right? So we are using the tangle pattern squid to draw this tangle. Again, moving on to the second. So whatever spaces you have, just go with that. Don't have to be perfectly in coordination, that's okay. Dots there. Again, third one. Again, the other side. Take your time. Yeah, and ink the in between. Yeah. So there are a couple of more left. I will do exactly the same for all. So I am on the last one now. Doing the same exercise. So whatever spaces I have, just going with that. Take your time. Go with whatever spaces you have. It's drawing behind here. Yeah, that's about it. I think we don't need anything else. Let us now move on to shade our tile. As far as your cukes are concerned, if you think that they are getting lost somewhere in the black, then there is always an option to use your jelly roll. Yeah, and add an aura like this. Yeah, so if you want, you can do that, but again, it's up to you. You can demarcate your cukes like this if you wish to. Just adding white at a few places like this. You may or may not do this. I feel they are getting lost in the black. The orbs are not very obvious, so I'm just creating a white aura around it with my jelly roll. Yeah. That's about it. So now I'm going to move on to shading. So as far as my Tentoculus is concerned, I'm just going to, as I showed to you, add some bit of graphite here on the curves on both sides, just a light touch. Spaces are small, so you don't want to add too much. Like this, yeah. So this is one of the ways you can use it. There are many more tangles like Enisu and so many more in which you can incorporate this tangle. Use it as a filler instead of straight lines or auras. Yeah. Take your time. Slowly add that graphite on both sides. Try adding using this tangle for Enisu. That's a Zentangle original. And you can combine it with this tangle. Yeah. Now again, going to my acanthus, I'm just going to darken one side and leave the other side the way it is. You can shade acanthus in so many different ways. So go with what you feel like. I'm just adding graphite to one side of acanthus. Doing the same throughout. Yeah. So once you are done with that, about these little spaces, you can always add some weight, some bit of inking here also, because acanthus has this as an integral part of it. These inked islands in between add a lot to the look of this tangle. So add some weights here and there, and they add to the look of this tangle. Yeah. So moving on to our cuke, I'm just going to add graphite on one side. Again, these are options. You can always shade on these petals, so you can add graphite at these places, right? But I'm not doing that. I am shading on one side. Whenever there is an orb, I am tempted to shade it like this. I feel it adds a lot of dimension. The orbs pop up. Yeah. But again, I showed you, you can always shade it differently. You can go to the petals and the place from where lines are emerging. You can darken those spaces. That's another way to shade your kuke. So take your time. Go to each. Be patient when you are shading. Don't be in a hurry. Your tile is not complete unless you finish shading it properly. So a little bit of white here, just so that my orbs are more obvious. Yeah. You can always revisit some lines after you have shaded, especially these. Yeah, so let's add some bit of, so I'm just going back and adding a little weight there. So I think it will add to the look. Yeah. Always a good idea to revisit some of the lines after shading. Let's now add some chalk. So the other side of kuke, you can always add some chalk and just blend it with the rest. So this is a fun way to shade your orbs. Just highlight one side and darken the other. It looks nice on most of the orb based tangles. Right? So just take your time, go to each. And then blend the chalk so that it doesn't look patchy. I think we have blended all. Yeah. So we don't need to do anything else. If you want, you can add little graphite here and add some shadow. If you don't want the border to be very obvious, you can always add some grays. So as I mentioned, Tentoculus is a very versatile tangle. You can use it in any kind of an arrangement. Although its look is like stitch, something stitched opening up, yeah. But as you can see here, this is an example of how you can use it differently inside any kind of a space, right? So space is not a constraint. Try different things. So this is Kuke. This is Icanthus and this is Tentoculus. So let us close our tile here. Put in your chop, very important. Small little weights here and there. Sign and date your tile. Right? So I shall see you again with another new session, some more new tangles. Still few sessions to go. Do join in. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.